What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and today we're going to be doing the deck profile for Goku Black. I've really been enjoying this leader. I think this is probably my favorite blue deck at the current moment. That's not to say I don't enjoy Trunks or anything like that, but just the amount of fun that I've been having with this deck so far has been very surprising. And at first, maybe in set 1, I didn't really think that Goku Black was really anything all that special, but with all the support that he ended up getting in set 2, he's a lot more consistent, and you're able to kind of get the plays off that you want to play a lot more frequently than you were during set 1. So we're just going to go over the deck profile. It's relatively basic for the most part, but I kind of want to give 2 cents on maybe on how some of these cards are meant to function, and approaches to how you want to play the game in this particular deck profile, as opposed to just what each card does and how it benefits the leader. So, alright, so we got Goku Black. Goku Black is a crit body on the front, and then once he awakens, once per turn, you can place a Zamasu in your battle area to the bottom of your deck, and then reduce the cost of the next Goku Black card you play by 2. This is good because it allows you to play a lot of your 4 cost and the 6 cost for cheaper. And that really does come in handy, especially if you're able to get that off on turn 3 or 4 effectively. So let's kind of look at the pieces, though. So we got Gowasu. Gowasu is a piece that is a... Gowasu is a card that allows you to search out basically Goku Blacks and Zamasus. He's mainly only in here on the off chance that my starting hand doesn't pull any Zamasus or Goku Blacks. Or if there's a particular piece that I'm missing going through my curve, then I can use Gowasu to try and search for a piece that will help me kind of play on curve. That's really all he's here for. If I end up building a bunch of like Zamasus in hand and Goku Blacks in hand, and I end up pulling this guy, he's immediate charge fodder. He doesn't really benefit the game. If he doesn't really benefit me in any way unless I don't have a particular piece. Mai is in here as a self-awakener. Goku Black's leader ability is extremely important, and without the way that I play this deck specifically is that I do not want to stay on my crit side. I want to awaken as soon as possible. So ideally, turn 1, I want to see at least 1 Mai. If I don't pull a second Mai, I know that my opponent's going to swing into my leader regardless. There's not a whole lot that I'm playing on turn 1 and 2 that that'll do any sort of damage to my opponent for the most part. So she's here to help facilitate self-awakening. Yeah, again, once I'm awakened though, like, she's charge fodder. She doesn't really bring any sort of benefit to the deck whatsoever. Then we have a bunch of Zamasus. We have the 1-drop Zamasu here for 15k. He's meant to kind of really be played, because ideally I'm gonna awaken before my opponent. So this Zamasu is here to provide a cheap swing in on my opponent before he awakens, and then I can use my leader ability to send him to the bottom of the deck, which doesn't leave him vulnerable. We use the 1-drop Zamasu, obviously, because our opponent's going to play cantrips, our opponent's going to play searchers, our opponent's going to be playing, maybe the -5 Whis. And this card's going to come in handy to kind of keep that board clear in the beginning, especially with that Whis. That Whis is in red is so disruptive. So having this guy on board helps. Then we got the Goku Black Searcher. This guy's really good because coupled with this, I'll get into this guy in a little bit, but he's a really good, if you're able to pull this guy with this Goku Black, this guy is like the perfect combo because he can't be KO'd. There's been multiple instances where I needed to swing into my opponent and apply some additional pressure, and I'll swing with this guy throw in either a 10k combo if he's not awakened or a Gallic Gun to meet 20k, and then I bounce him back to the bottom of my deck with my leader ability. Like the, plus he's a Goku Black searcher, so obviously if I'm playing Goku Blacks, I'm gonna have to refill those Goku Blacks in hand. But yeah, this is the SR Zamasu. Obviously, this guy is this guy's probably the best Zamasu in the deck. Being able to play this guy and not swing with him, and knowing full well that he's going to be staying on board almost indefinitely, is really good staying power, especially for the type of deck that Goku Black kind of wants to be. So, and then on the off chance that I have some Kremli cards in hand, he has the discard 1 and draw 1. So, say I got all my pieces and I have an extra Gowasu or I have an extra Mai, using this ability to kind of throw them into the discard to maybe pull a piece that I'm able to kind of use later on in the match is actually beneficial. And then obviously he's 20k power, so it's a clear swing and use of leader ability to kind of cycle this guy in and out. He's just that. It's just that good. And then we got this series of regular Goku Blacks. This one just draws. Having a little bit of extra draw power isn't the worst thing. This card works a little bit better, I think, if you already have a Zamasu on board and you're basically just replacing this guy. If you're playing a Zamasu to play this guy, it's not the greatest feeling because you're technically -1 at that point in hand. So I usually try to only play this guy either off of the 6-drop, or I try to play this when I already have a Zamasu on board. So now to this Goku Black. I think this Goku Black can be really good. He is able to look for a Zamasu, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and find a Zamasu, and then play it on board. This allows you to potentially cheap out Zamasus for free, which I think is great. Having free leader options works really well. The problem is that only searching the top 3 will kind of have you whiffing more than not. So I really only try to play this guy when I don't have my Zamasus on board. If I have no Zamasus on board and I have very little to no Zamasus in hand, and I can't really afford to be playing a Zamasu on board that I know I'm probably gonna have removed off board next turn, I play this guy instead. Because at the very least, I'm cycling through my deck and I'm able to hopefully find pieces for next turn that will allow me. And ideally, we want this guy, right? We want this guy we want this guy because he's only looking for 1-drops specifically. But yeah, I mean, he's a good card and he helps with the consistency a little bit. But there are times where you are going to whiff with him. And I think that's probably the biggest detriment to this whole deck, is that there's so many searching options in this deck. Because of the type of deck that Goku Black wants to be, you don't want to be running any, you want to try to limit the amount of cards that are not Goku Black and Zamasu in this deck. Because nothing hurts more than throwing out a Zamasu here and not pulling a Goku Black, and you pull up like 2 Mais, a Gowasu, a Fused Zamasu, and all that. It's just it's not what you want to see. So Goku Black right now, at the very least, is someone that you want to run as many Zamasus and as many Goku Blacks as you possibly can in order to get on curve effectively. But again, in terms of the pieces that you have, the only other pieces that are kind of missing in this particular deck is maybe the promo Goku Black, and I would maybe argue that he's not all that great because you're pushing stuff back to hand, which is not the most ideal thing. So just a little snippet there in terms of my thought process. So, yeah, so then we go into the 4-drop package. So we got the base Goku Black here, 30k, 4 cost. He's a 10k combo. He's pretty good. I don't really have any gripes against. I don't have any gripes against him. Then we got the 4-cost 30k one, where when he attacks, if you have 7 or fewer cards, he can bottom deck a 2 cost or less. This guy can actually be pretty good against. He's good against other Goku Blacks. Because he's able to bottom deck a lot of the Zamasu, the 1-drop Zamasus. Then, obviously, you're going into like red, and you're going into yellow. They run a lot of 2-cost or less options. So he's just a good means to kind of help with board clear while also supplying substantial pressure to your opponent. I only run 2 of him just because he's 5k combo, and you're not going to be running him all the time because you're not there's moments where you're going to be going against green, and you're not really getting the leader effect off of with green. So then we only have 3 Zamasu fused. This guy is strictly only here to facilitate extra draw. Having 1 or 2 of these guys in the later game is actually really detrimental to your opponent, just because you're able to draw so many cards. And as we know with blue, if blue is able to facilitate throwing a ton of, like, having a lot of cards in hand, then more times than not, blue is going to be able to survive. And especially with this guy's like once KO 1 time, and he's able to come back onto the board, supplies a bit of pressure to your opponent. Like, this card's just good. It's just good outright. Even if he's not fitting into the Goku Black archetype and you're not able to play this guy off of the leader ability, his ability itself, the things that he's doing is just too good to not pass up in this deck. Especially with a crit leader. There's been moments where, like, I've been playing, there's been moments where I played this deck where my opponent just would not go for face. He would not attack my leader to help me awaken. And so playing this guy on turn 3, turn 4, depending on if I go first or second, helps to facilitate draw that I otherwise didn't have. And I think that's pretty good, honestly. Then we're running 6 of the Goku Blacks here. This guy's self-explanatory. Play him for 4 off of the leader ability, to basically playing him 2 turns cheaper, or 2 turns sooner. Picking up a card from your discard pile to kind of facilitate combo power, or something specific that you want to play off of his when attacking ability. He's just like he's just that. He is the main staple of this deck. If you are playing Goku Black without running this guy, you are insane. You are nuts. So yeah. Then super combos, obviously. 3 Gallic Gun. There are moments where this comes in handy, especially since you're playing stuff for cheaper on here. Your 3 costs are being played for 1. Your 4 costs are being played for 2. The 6 drops being played for 4. Depending on where you're at in the match, sometimes having a little bit of extra defensive power is actually going to prove beneficial. And, I mean, Gallic Gun is just that card. Being able to kind of get over 30Ks with ease, and also replacing itself in hand is really good. And it's also a decent option if you're trying to go for game, you know? Like, because we're not running double strikers in this game, so you have to have your opponent down at 1. So if you need to provide a little bit of extra push to your opponent to kind of get them down to 1, or to at least go for game, like, Gallic Gun's actually really good for that, because it's 15k, and then ideally you draw a 10k combo card, and you're able to boost your leader up even more with that 10k. So Gallic Gun's pretty good. Then we have Sinister Sickle. This is mainly for the this is mainly to facilitate against red or yellow, not so much against blue. That said, I've been thinking a little bit on this, and I'm not using this card as much as I think I would, or as much as I would like. So I think maybe it might be better to maybe use Absolute Lightning instead. Like, if we take a look at Absolute Lightning real quick, let me see here. Yeah, I mean, it might be better if there's like something, it might be better since you're limited in what you're able to actually like throw under the bus, and depending what your matchup is, it might. I'm thinking honestly, I might replace like maybe one of these sickles with an absolute lightning, just for particular situations in which I'm going against green and Broly's on the board and stuff like that. But I mean, Sinister is still a really good card. We'll see with the new Gohan coming in set 3 how good this Sinister Sickle is still going to be. The Gohan might just outright replace this card since it's doing the same thing and he's 30k power. We'll just have to see. But yeah. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, the big detriment to this deck is that you can whiff because you have Gowasu that searches, you have Zamasu that searches, you have the Goku Black there that searches. Like, there's just a lot of room for error depending on what your RNG is looking like. So, but either way, like, I mean, this deck is still really good. I think this is probably the best blue deck right now. You can make some argument for Vegeta, I think, to be the best blue deck, but I mean, in terms of consistency, like, I feel like this is a lot more consistent than Vegeta can be, because as long as you're running the archetype itself that Goku Black kind of needs to facilitate his plays, and you're limiting like stuff like Mai and Gowasu and stuff, like if you have mostly Zamasus and Goku Blacks, I think for the most part you're gonna do pretty well against your opponent. I think there's very little margin of error unless like RNG is just not on your side. So yeah, I enjoyed this deck. This is the deck in its whole entirety. Let me know what you guys think. What kind of changes would you make to this deck? Well, how would you end up playing this deck? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support as always. We've in the past like 2 weeks alone, we've gained like 20 subscribers, which is insane to even think about. So I appreciate all the love and support as always. You guys are awesome. Let's try and push for 200 subscribers by the end of the summer. I would like to maybe push for 200 before August ends. So, but other than that, again, just like and subscribe to this video if you if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.